Good morning, everyone. I am so glad you're here with me this morning. Happy Canada Day to all my Canadian friends, and happy Canada Day to me too, because I'm a dual citizen. You can see over my shoulder. Let's move this way. You can see the Canada flag, and I've got my Canada shirt on this morning. But I'm working today because I live in the US, and today's not a holiday in the US, but the 4th of July holiday is on Monday. So happy 4th of July weekend to all of my American friends. And I know some of you are out at your cottage today or you're traveling, but I know there's a bunch of you that aren't, and that's why I'm here. And I have a cute little project for you today. And this one's maybe a little bit more fall-ish, but as we move through the summer, we always want to work a little bit in advance. So it's this cute little holder. And today it's a holder for Nature's Bakery. I don't know if you're familiar with these. I don't know if it's only available in the US, but different countries have different equivalents of things. So this is these I just found recently. I think they're new. They're a Nature's Bakery oatmeal crumble. So I thought, and this is an apple flavored one. So this just like opens up like this, and then the bar sits in here like that. And then I'll show you in a little bit when I have this flat, and I don't have to hold this up in the air while I show you how to close this, but it tucks in between these two pieces. It's just kind of hard to do it standing or when I'm holding it up in the air, but it's an easy to make holder, and you could make it you could tweak it and make it in different sizes as well. So I will show you how I made it. I'll measure the bar for you too, so you can see how big it is if you need to translate it to a different treat. I think these would make like a nice little breakfast thing to put in a little basket if you're having a little event or something like that. I know it's a little cliche to do apples for teachers, but we tend to do it all the time. So a fall event, a fall maybe breakfast or a teacher appreciation thing could have a bunch of these in a basket. Instead of just putting the actual bars in a basket, you can decorate them up like this. I think this is just like a cute little closure for wrapping up a little bar like that. So good morning, everyone. I'm going to switch over to my other camera, and let me just pop over here. Okay, let me show you how this closes now. So you've got this, and we've got a new punch, and this is called the Best. Oh shoot, I'm going to have to look it up. It is called the Very Best Trio Punch. Had to look it up because this is new in our July to December mini catalog, which just started today. And it's also celebration. So for every $50 or $100 you spend right now, you can earn a celebration product. So this is a product that you would purchase to get up to that $50 or $100 level. So we'll be using this today. And so I made the little corners here with that. It just makes it really easy. And then you just tuck this in between the two pieces of cardstock and then just kind of shimmy it down. And that creates that kind of closure. I also did on this one, I did this other kind of the fancier corner just so you could see, and then you can just tuck that down in there too. I will say that for tucking purposes, if you want to retuck, this straight line's a little easier, the other one's a little fancier, so you have to choose what you want. And then this is what it looks like on the side. So you could do this either in like a simple white, or you can do it in a colored cardstock. It doesn't really matter, just whatever you would like. And I did the baskets in two different ways, so I will show you how I did that as well. Okay. Oh, and I will have a project sheet for you. It's just not ready yet, so I can't even flash it up on the camera. So make sure you're on my email list. If you go in the description of this video, click on Show More, and you'll be able to see the link to get on my email list. If you're already on my email list, then you will get the project sheet automatically. All right, we are using the Cheerful Basket Bundle today. Isn't this cute? Got a little kitty in here. We've got hearts. We've got craft supplies. So there's different things that can go on top of the basket. So that's kind of nice. And then we've got dies to match. So I'll show you how those are used today. Okay, let me shuffle those aside. And let's start off by making the box. So I'm going to grab my Simply Scored because I think it's just so much easier. I'm going to put these blocks out of the way. I think it's so much easier to do 3D projects on a scoring board than it is to do it on a trimmer. So if you're doing a lot of scoring, definitely an investment in the Simply Scored is a good idea. So we're actually going to use 2 pieces of cardstock to make the box. There would have been a way to do it out of 1 piece, but this is a little easier, I think, to do it out of 2 pieces because then we don't have to cut anything away. So let's work with the longer piece first, and this piece measures 11 inches by 2 3/4 inches. And we're going to take our stylus tool and put the 11-inch side up at the top and score at the 3-inch mark, the 3 3/4 inch mark, and the 8 1/4 inch mark. Okay, so that is the long piece. I'm going to do the short piece right away, and this one I cut to 7 1/16. If you can't wrap your head around it, you can do 7 inches as well. 7 1/16 makes it just a little easier to wrap around the front. It gives you a little bit more space, but 7 inches you'll be able to work it as well. You might just need to bend a little bit more the cardstock. So I did 7 1/16, and 7 1/16 is right in between the 7-inch mark and the 7 1/8 inch mark. And then it's also a 2 3/4 inch width on this side. And we're going to score at the 1 3/8 inch mark and the 2 1/8 inch mark. And then we're going to turn it to the other long side. So we're scoring both ends the same way, and score at 1 3/8 and 2 1/8. All right. So let's bring in the longer piece, and you'll need a bone folder. And I'm just going to fold this along all the score lines. And you want to note there is a shorter end and a longer end. The shorter end is away from this smaller scored segment. This is the front, and this is the top that comes over the side. And this measures 2 3/4 inches. We want to punch into the 2 3/4 inch side. This side down here measures 3 inches. So don't touch this side, go to the shorter one. And then we're going to take the not the detailed trio punch. This is a new punch with a new punching set. It's the, let me look it up again. I have since forgotten. Very Best Trio Punch. I will learn this name very soon. Okay, so we're going to use this triangle here, and we're just going to use the guide, put it in the corners, and give it a little punch so we get the little edge. Flip that over, use the guide again, and give it a punch. I find that when I'm punching with this one, stand up and use the heel of your hand to punch. Gives you the best punch. If because this is a triangle, if you kind of punch, if you're sitting down, you might have a harder time punching because you're going to put pressure on a corner rather than, you really want to put pressure right on the center of the punch when you're punching. Okay, so while this is flat, I want to stamp on here. And you could stamp on a label and then attach the label on here, but I'm trying to make this easy. So I need a little room for my ribbon up top here. Using Memento Tuxedo black ink. Ink. And I'm going to leave about 1/2 inch from the top, and then I'm just going to center it from side to side. You don't want to stamp too close to here because it's going to tuck in a little bit down here. So you're going to, if you stamp too far down to the bottom, you're going to lose your word or it will be cut off. So if you stamp kind of in the middle of this section right here, you should be good. All right, so let's close that up for a second. And then we're going to fold this piece, their bone folder. Okay. So this is how this is going to go. And then this is going to go over the front of this piece. So the easiest way I've found, we have this down here at the bottom, and we're going to work on this last segment here. And we need to be careful because if we glue this section and we glue it completely down, then there's going to be nothing for that flap to slip into. So what you're going to do is you're just going to put Tombow about like this, maybe no more than 1 inch up from the bottom. You can see I put Tombow down about 1 inch up. And then I'm going to lay this piece, it looks like this. I'm going to lay it right along the score line here, just above it. And I'm going to center it in between those two score marks. So the reason I cut this length originally to 7 1/16 and I score in from both sides is that extra 1/16 of an inch ends up being here in the middle, and that allows my scores to just really fold nicely around the edge. If you end up doing 7 inches, it will be okay. It's just going to be a little tighter with the fold right here. So you might need to like work it a little bit to get it around the fold, but it will still be good. Okay. So I've got that pressed around, and then this is, of course, will tuck in between these two pieces, and that's why we left a big chunk of this unglued. But we do want to glue in the sides. I didn't even try it with it not being glued, but I really feel like it kind of, it's going to be too loosey-goosey if we don't glue it. So we're going to glue it, and we're going to glue one at a time. So we'll take one of these ends right here and just put Tombow on here. And I'm going to just bring this around and line it up on the edge. Give me a second, and once I've got this lined up, I will show you what it looks like. Use your bone folder to press down. Your hand should also fit in there. But what you want to do is make sure that the edge is nicely lined up, and that this is right here on the bottom, that it comes all the way down to the bottom. This is what it looks like on the inside. You can kind of see the tab. Lighting's not 100%, but you can kind of see how it's folded over, and then this one is going to fold in, and we're going to glue it down into there like that. Okay, so now we'll do the other side. It's easier to get that first side positioned and glued first, because then this side will butt up against the other one. So I'm just tucking this in carefully, and I'm just going to push it up against the other side, and I'm keeping my hand in there. I want to make sure that this is very close to the edge, that there's not too much of a gap, so it looks nicely finished. And then just press all of that down, and you've got your little box. Now all that remains is to decorate it up. So for the top, I'm going to use, let's use some of this Evening Evergreen ribbon. This is still one of my favorite ribbons. It was introduced last year, and it's nice. This lighter color, you can color it with some of the darker Stampin' Blends into a different color. That wouldn't work so well with this dark colored ribbon, but Evening Evergreen's a good color for this. So I'm just going to cut up a length to go around here, and we'll tie a knot. And we actually have locking tweezers. Where did you go? Here we go. We have locking tweezers in the catalog now, and I need to add these to my supply list. They are part of a bundle. Let me grab that. This is called the Embossing Editions Toolkit. The item number is 159971. And in here you get a embossing powder tray, you get a brush, and you get an embossing buddy, and that's what you rub on your paper before you do embossing. But the other thing you get is a pair of, or a tool, like a locking tweezers tool, and that just helps you keep that knot down while you tie the second knot. You can also use it to hold your project as you're embossing. That's also helpful. So I've got my little knot. Scoot this a little bit. All right. And then we'll come in with scissors and just give it a little angle cut. Okay. And then let's add a Nature's Bakery bar. Let me just measure the packaging for you before I forget. So it measures about 4.5 inches. So when it scrunches down, it could be a little bit shorter. And it is about 2.5 inches wide. So it's not your typical long and skinny granola bar. It's kind of more, a little bit more rectangular, and well, granola bar is rectangular, but it's a little more, I don't know, short. It's shorter. So yeah, it's, anyway, if you need to find something else to go in here, you can always tweak the measurements a little bit, but this one is about 4.5 by about 2.5. There is a little extra room in the box, so you could theoretically add something that was a little slightly different. So this is going to tuck in like this, okay? And then we're going to fix the front part up and decorate it a little bit. Okay, so we've got some options to do that. And one of the options is to just stamp the basket. That's probably the easiest way. So let's just go ahead. We'll use Memento ink. Just make sure this is a regular linen pad, so usually you have to tap it a little harder than you would one of our colored ink pads. And then I'm just going to add that. This is a piece of crumb cake cardstock. It's about 2.25 inches wide. So here is one type of basket. The other type of basket is a woven basket. So we'll have to do that right on the cardstock as we're doing it. I'm going to take this little piece right here. This is a little scrap of basic white, and I'm also going to do the apples on here. And I think I'm just gonna trim this little edge off a bit so we don't have so much cardstock. Okay, do I need to stamp anything else? I think that's it. Okay, so let's close that up. And I'm going to bring in my mini boss because the mini boss will work for this size of die. Okay, and remember, if your machine is tight, don't use the recommended number 1 plate. Use my recommended plate, which is the number 3 plate. It is light gray. There's also a dark gray one, so the number 3 light gray one. And then we're going to place, gently place things down. We'll put down a number 2 plate, and we'll put down this. And I'm going to grab my die to cut it out. And let's use a little bit of this labeling and cover up tape just to position it in place. Okay, I'm just centering it, and then I'll put that little piece on there. And then we're going to roll this through. Carefully peel this off, and there is one type of basket. Now I want to do the woven basket because I want to show you how to do that, and you're going to need these 2 dies from that die set, and this one I want to ink it up a little bit with crumb cake ink, so you can ink up your dies very carefully. So this is how I do it. I'm just going to open up my ink pad here. Let's put this down over here. And I'm going to drop my die right onto my ink pad and just give it a little tap. Not too hard. You don't want to smoosh too hard. Just give it a little tap. And then I'm going to use this little piece of Post-it note tape, and I'm going to lift this up and place this on here. Okay, let's get rid of the ink pad, and let's grab the other clear plate, place it on top, and now we're going to run this through. Okay, so I probably could have pressed down a little bit harder and I would have gotten a little bit more detail on my basket, but you can see it's picked up some of the ink, so now you can see the wood grain a little bit better. Okay, and then we need one more piece. We need to run this through, this little piece through. Got another piece of crumb cake here, and we'll just run this through. Oops, don't stick to that. Okay, static cling. All right, so that will give us these 3 little pieces, and we're going to use that to weave a little basket. And then the last thing I want to do is grab my little apple piece, and we're just going to add this here. I've got my little piece of Post-it label tape, whatever you want to call it, here. Just this to the right spot, pin it down, and here's my other plate. We're going to run that through. Okay, and then we have all the pieces that we need. Okay, throw that away. So these were the little pieces that came out of this one right here. Okay, those can be thrown away. And we'll just set our little piece aside. So for this basket, you really don't need to do anything else. You can use it just as is. But for this one, we're going to need to do a little bit of weaving magic. So what you can do is, I'm going to just take this first piece. This is, line them up in the order from smallest to longest, or shortest to longest. And I'm going to come through here and just weave in between these little pieces right here. And I'm going to kind of position it where I want it. Okay, and then I'm going to pin it. And then I'm just going to come through and just put a little dot of Tombow on the one end and on the other end. You can wait to do this until you've woven all the pieces. In fact, I would probably suggest that the first time. So on this first one, I went behind, and then on the middles, I went in front, behind, in front, and then behind again. So the next piece, I'm going to do the opposite weave. Okay. And bring this down into here. And we're going to do a little trimming. So let's get this middle one positioned, and then let's do the last one still so that we can come through. Okay. So you're going to just want to shift them however you want them, wherever you want like your holes to be, just move it to that location. Okay, and then once you like where everything's positioned, like this one right here, I'm just going to put a little dot of glue right under that end tab, press down, little dot of glue, you can see that, press down. And then we'll move to the back on this side. Just lift that up, put a little tab of glue, little dot of glue, and then over here on this side. Okay. So you can see, you could leave this like as is if you want, but if you want to trim it off, you can. So I would trim this one off on the front. And then on the back, see if there's any hang over. And so then you can create your little basket. It's so cute. It's just got a little bit different of a look than this one. But both of them are cute. You know, you don't have to do one or the other. You can just choose what you like. Okay, and then we've got this little piece, and I'm just going to take my Sweet Sorbet Light and my Soft Succulent Dark, and I'll start off with the brush tip, and I'm just going to brush ink onto these little apples. And for the first round, when I'm doing this, I'm just going to avoid the leaves and try to stay somewhat in the lines. And by the lines, I mean I can go over onto the other apples. Like I don't need to worry at this point if I am going into another apple right away, because I just don't want to get red on the leaves. So I'm just avoiding those sections. Just come along. It doesn't take very long if you do the brush tip. Some people really find coloring therapeutic. Okay, so just got a little bit of white on that side. So if you want to do some highlights, you can. I would just go back over the areas where there's already some highlights from the stamp artist. They put some highlights in certain areas. So you can just kind of go over those areas with the marker a second time, and that will kind of give you a little bit of shading without too much trouble. And I'm going to take the bullet tip on my soft succulent dark and just color in these leaves. Okay, and we're almost done. These will just take a second. All right. Okay, so we'll put this aside, and now we'll come back to our little box. So if you don't want to take the time, like say you're going to make a lot of these, and you don't want to take the time to die cut this piece, okay? You could also, just that front piece, you could stamp this directly onto this piece right here. Just stamp it right down onto here and then color it on here. But you need to do that while this piece is still flat. So you could stamp it on that front piece, and that way you would save yourself one step of the die cutting. I do like to die cut the basket though, because if you die cut it, if you stamp it on crumb cake or you do this design here, then you don't have to do any coloring because the basket is already colored because of the colored cardstock. Okay, so if you didn't want to do that extra step, and then you also have to glue this on here. So what you just do is, I'm going to glue this piece first. And measurement wise, if you follow my measurements exactly, this piece just has enough room to fit on here. So I'm just going to put this up here. I'm centering the apples rather than the leaves. Like I'm ignoring this leaf right here, and I'm trying to have about the same distance on either side based on apples. And I'm going right up to the top. I'm gluing it like that last stem is like just touching the very top. So then we can decide which basket, this one, or we can add this one. So we can go back and do this look again. And since I've woven this basket, I'm going to do the woven basket because I really do like the look of the woven basket. But gosh, this is like really fast. So if you just want to go ahead and stamp this, die cut it, and you don't have to do any messing around with this, you can just glue it on there. And if you stamp the apples directly onto that piece, like you're really good to go. So I think that would make it a lot easier to whip up a bunch of these. And I know with 3D crafters that sometimes that's what we're looking for. Sometimes we want something super elegant, and but for these treat holders, it's nice to have something fast to do, because I imagine you're going to buy a few boxes of these and then make them up into a little basket. So that's what it looks like. And then of course I did one with colored cardstock, so you can choose colored cardstock. I would probably go with a light colored cardstock, like no darker than about soft succulent. Pool Party would look nice. Balmy Blue would look nice. Maybe even a yellow like So Saffron would make a nice background. Something that is light. And I chose Soft Succulent because we have a matching ribbon, and I thought that would look nice together. And that way you can still stamp directly on here for your greeting. The one thing with this one, you won't be able to stamp the apples on here directly and be able to color them. You will need to stamp and die cut out the apples like I've done here, but you won't be able to stamp on them directly because the colored cardstock Wouldn't look very nice with the red on top. It just wouldn't do the same. It wouldn't give the same amount of pop. So there you go. I hope you like those. And I hope that will be maybe a nice little fall treat coming up if you're prepping for something for fall. And, apples you can get all year round. And I think this is kind of a cool new little snack oatmeal crumble. Nature's Bakery also makes fruit bars as well. So they'll have, I think, blueberry and raspberry. So they have other bars as well. Last week, I used the sweetest cherries bundle to create some boxes for Pop-Tarts. If you were doing the fruit bars in Nature's Bakery, you could kind of do something similar for Nature's Bakery bars with the sweetest cherries bundle. You could do like a big cherry or make a blueberry for the front of these. So there's options. For this box design, I think, if you're using Nature's Bakery, it's just a nice shape that allows you to put like a greeting up here and an image down here. So very, very versatile little I forget, was I supposed to do anything else? I was going to measure the bar, which I did. I showed you how to make the two types of baskets. Oh, one thing I did want to mention. So when you're making these, and say you're going to make a lot of these, what I would do is that first 11-inch by 2 3/4 measurement. What I would do instead, I would take a sheet of 11-inch by 8.5, and I'd put the 11-inch side up at the top, and I would do my score marks. And then I would cut off that on the 8.5-inch side, I would cut off into 2 3/4-inch strips. You can get 3 of those 11 by 2 3/4-inch strips out of a sheet of 8.5 by 11. And then you can get that shorter piece, which was 7 1/16 by 2 3/4. You can cut a piece of 8.5 by 11. And at the 8.5-inch side, you cut it down to 7 1/16. So 7 1/16 by 11 inches. On the 7 1/16 side, you do your measurements, your score measurements on one side, you flip, you do your score measurements on the other side, and then on the 11-inch side, you cut into 2 3/4-inch strips, and you can get 4 pieces out of that piece. So economically, if you're building a bunch of these boxes, you can get about 3-ish out of 2 sheets of cardstock if you cut both of those pieces separately out of the different lengths. So I hope that makes sense to you. But there are ways when you're paper crafting en masse to make things work a little easier to get more out of one sheet of cardstock. Okay, I think I remembered everything that I was going to say. I wanted to share with you my host code for the month. Here it is, and my gift of the month is going to be the Fun Flower Resin Shapes. So if you spend at least $50 with me in July, you're going to get this sent to you in August. Now, the cool thing about ordering in July is if you spend $50, you're also going to get a reward, a celebration reward from Stampin' Up. So there's a lot of good reasons to order in July and August. And one of them is my host code, and the other one is the gift that you're going to get from Stampin' Up. Now, the gift you get from Stampin' Up, you're going to do that while you're checking out. It's going to prompt you to choose a Stampin' Reward, not a Stampin' Reward, a celebration reward. It will prompt you to choose one, and you can go ahead and choose it, and that's going to ship with your order. These Fun Flower Resin Shapes, they are going to be shipped out in August separately. They won't go on your order, so don't place them on your order. They are going to be shipped directly from me with a thank you card. So that is the code you need to use for July. And if you're placing a smaller order, you can get one of my free with purchase tutorials for an order of $15 or more. And you will also qualify for that with a larger order as well. Okay, I can't wait to talk to you guys. I know it's always hard at the beginning of the month. There's so many new things happening. So, we have the new July to December catalog. So we have all these new holiday catalog products. And I know it's a little early to think about holiday crafting, but I know some of you are already crafting for craft fairs, so it's nice to be able to get in early. I will gradually be sharing more projects with the catalog. There's still lots of things in the annual catalog that I want to share with you, so I'm going to be combining them, like today. This Very Best Trio Punch that's out of the new catalog. So I'm glad we have a new Trio Punch because I certainly missed the old punch we had, the old Trio Punch. So I'm glad we have a new one that's jumping in right away so I don't have to miss the other one too much. Okay, let's go and have a look at your comments, and I'm just going to pop these out of the way. And if you have any questions for me, please ask them. Good morning, Ellie. I'm so glad the sun is shining. Good morning, Marty. Okay, I'm just reading. Marty says, wait, what is the Canadian holiday? So it's July 1st. It's Canada Day. It's the day when we celebrate when Canada became a nation. So kind of like your Independence Day, and it just happens to be right around the same time. It's July 1st every single year. My son is up in Canada today. He's actually driving down tomorrow for a little visit. So we're excited. He gets to spend Canada Day up in Canada and then come down here for July 4th. Best of both worlds. Celebrate the country making days for both countries. So he's up there today, and we're not, but we're still celebrating in our hearts. We both, my husband and I, we both love Canada. I was born there. I'm now a dual citizen though, so I celebrate both holidays. Okay. So, Marty said, could I show the other parts of the punch just on a piece of scrap paper? Absolutely. I'm going to switch back over to my other camera. Oh, yes. And that's something I did want to show, Marty. That is such a great little question. Let me just I'm going to grab a piece of cardstock here. Okay. So I showed you how I did this on the corners. Now, this little one is really cool, but a little caveat with this one, because it's not symmetrical, okay? So when you're punching with this one, you want to face it towards you in whichever way you want to do it. I like to kind of do this. So when I'm punching this one, I'm not standing up. Okay, it's better to do this one standing up. If you want to match this same way, you're going to flip it like this and put it back in like this. So that way you're going to get matching. What you don't want to do is you don't want to come in and do this and then turn it and then do this. Because look what happened. They're no longer symmetrical. But if I wanted to have this side repeated, then I just do this, and then I flip over here and do this. But you want to keep it facing you in whatever direction you want to punch. And so you want to do this punch, and then keep it the same way, and then you go, oh, okay, I want to stamp this or punch this corner now, and you just flip it, but don't move the punch. Otherwise, you're going to get a mismatched punched edge. Okay, and then this one is a slot punch. So you just center this. There is a centering mark right here. you see this little line? You can kind of see that as you're punching. So if you want the slot to be in a certain spot, you can, if you're centering it, you can center it. You can kind of eyeball it here, or you can make yourself a little line if you want to center it. I can see it really well from this angle. You might be able to see the little divot just a little bit there. And then you just punch down like that, and it gives you a little slot. What can you use the slot for? It would make a good like ribbon slot for you. So I'm just going to add on this. So you could run ribbon through there. I didn't match those up very well. So what I would do, if I wanted to match things up a little better, take your ruler and I would just draw a line. Okay. If you want to match your slots up on either side. So then this little centering line right here works really well. Punch, and then you center that little line on that little centering line and punch. And now these ones will be right across from each other if you want to make sure you get those. Eyeballing it really didn't cut it for me. So that's depending on how far apart these two are, put yourself a line so you can center it. And of course I already did this one. We can do it again on this piece of scrap one. And this one is just like this. And if you do these on both sides, you can kind of make a tag, or it could kind of look a bit like a banner as well coming down. So I really like this. So you can make like this one right here. Let's just try this. I have this sitting right towards me, and we're going to flip this on this side. Okay, and then I want to keep the same look, and I'm going to flip this and then flip this. Look how cute this is. It's a little banner now that you can use to stamp a greeting on, or a little image. So it can kind of make a cute little little bannery sort of look. So I don't know how narrow, you'd have to play around with the sizing to see how small you can go before it doesn't look good anymore. But this size just in and of itself would be useful, and you could make it larger as well. It's a cool new punch. I love trio punches, so definitely a keeper. Just remember, keep your punch when you're using this one, keep your punch in that spot and move your cardstock around rather than shifting on here. You just always want to keep it in that alignment. That was a really good question, Marty. I'm so glad you asked that, because I wanted to show the punch, but I forgot. Okay, let's go. All right. Hello, Vert Blue. Good morning. I'm glad it's a sunny day. Thank you, Judith, for explaining Canada Day. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Tina. Good morning, Linda. I'm so glad you're back here. Yay. Good morning, June. I'm glad you're here live. Marty says their fig bars are delicious. They are, and my husband has been a big fan of the Nature's Bakery fig bars. So we've had different ones for the past couple of years coming through the house. And I just noticed the new, the crumble ones. So I thought anytime there's a new kind of candy, or this isn't a candy, this is more like a granola bar, I have to buy it and test it out. Thank you, Marty, for wishing everyone a happy Canada Day. Okay, Nancy said, so I bought the Hershey's Nuggets, and before I received the stamp set to make their boxes, I ate the nuggets. Oh no! I should have warned everyone not to buy their nuggets in advance. So yes, that was an important first step. I did not put that on the project sheet. So I'm sorry, Nancy. I guess you're going to have to buy some more nuggets once you have your everything ready, and then you're going to have to make them up. Wrap that paper around the nuggets, because I tell you, once that paper's on there, I am not taking that paper off. So that's one way to stop yourself from eating the nuggets, or freeze them, or have someone hide them, but not in the attic because they will melt, right? This time of year, you're going to have Hershey's Nugget soup instead of Hershey's Nuggets. That's funny, Nancy. Marty said, you could cut the fancy corners on all four sides of a rectangular piece and punch the sides and run the ribbon through. Yes, you can run the ribbon through the back of the piece. Yeah, you could do it on this piece, right? You could do the little ribbon. If I was doing that though, you know what I would do first? I would punch the ribbon holes first, and then I would do the corners, because it's going to be much harder. You're going to have very little sides left to do that. Like if I were to do it now, it would be a lot more difficult, I think. I'm not even sure. Yeah, I guess it's flat in the center. I'm going to do it now. I'm just going to... Okay, I know I did that off camera, but I'm... Okay, so now I've got my little piece with a ribbon, and I'm going to feed the ribbon. It's very hard to do this up in the air. But yeah, you can add that now to a card. So that would be kind of cute to do that too. So yes, lots of possibilities with this punch. So I hope it's popular, because I want it to stay around for a little while. Linda Lee says I should add a disclaimer for the nuggets. Yes, do not purchase nuggets before you intend to make your project. We need a disclaimer for everything these days, right? Right. Okay, well, I hope you guys have a great long weekend in Canada and the US. We all have long weekends. Today, Canada's long weekend starts, and the US long weekend extends till Monday. And I swear, this morning out on our walk, there wasn't too much traffic, and it's a Friday, and I know everyone's already taken off to go somewhere for the Independence Day holiday. We will be here. We will be celebrating my husband's birthdays on July 4th. So that's one of the reasons our son is coming down. My husband always gets fireworks for his birthday, which, I think is a little unfair. I think we should all have fireworks for our birthday, right? Yeah, I have my birthday's in November, and it sometimes falls on Thanksgiving. And guess what I get to do on my birthday? Cook a turkey. Doesn't seem quite fair. And no fireworks for Thanksgiving usually. I don't know if anywhere does the fireworks for Thanksgiving, but certainly not in my area. So I'm missing out a little bit by having a November birthday. All right. Well, I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I will be back next week on Tuesday. I'll go live with our Casing Tuesday Facebook challenge, and on Fridays, I will be back with another 3D project or a fancy fold card. I hope you guys have a great holiday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.